marriage. Marriage is what brings us together today.
Married.
I'm Katie.
I'm Connor.
Yep, that's Connor. We've been married for 5 months, and we know Joey through being family friends.
Well, I am your father, Joshua Smithson. I know you because I've been feeding you for 18 years, and wiped your bottom, and now I whack your butt, get you straightened out. This is my wife, Dawn. Been married 10 years. She knows you by force. She married me, therefore you were forced into her life. She's been loving on you as a good stepmother would love on you. And but fortunately, she had the good fortune of never wiping your butt.
Joe and Kristen Home, been married almost 27 years, and we know you because, remember, at St. Paul's.
I'm Tom Smithson. I know you because you're my grandson, and we've been married for 59 years.
And I'm Melissa Smithson, and I'm your grandma, and I've been married 59 years to him.
Marriage last.
So I think some important characteristics that aid in helping a marriage last is the obvious one, good communication.
Yeah.
You have to be patient. You have to be a good listener.
Selfless.
Well, both of our love for God, putting God first, and then communication. So as long as we're both honoring God and serving God at the center, we will come together as a couple, because serving God is much bigger than serving ourselves or serving each other. So as long as we're serving God, we will always meet in the middle.
Well, I think two things have really stood out to me during our marriage. One is just being flexible. Sometimes we don't even realize, even when we're really young, that we're kind of set in our ways, and we need to be flexible and open-minded, and also forgiveness is a big thing, because the reality is you mess up a lot, and life is going to go on its ups and downs, and forgiving one another is a huge part of the process.
Loving one another, and that means putting the other one first, not yourself always, which most of us have a tendency to do. But you have to compromise some of your ideas because you may see something a different way, and that's from both sides. So, yeah.
And I might clarify that by saying that love doesn't always feel like love, like the world thinks of love. He always says love is not a verb. It's a noun.
No.
A noun. It's not.
It is a verb.
It is a verb. I'm sorry, I got this right. It's an action. You show your love by doing, not by feeling, but by doing.
For a marriage.
We think, first of all, like the foundation of marriage is that like marriage represents Christ and the church, so it's good to like have that understanding and that foundation.
Well, I am commanded to love my wife like Christ loved the church.
Well, I think our marriage has always been centered on Christ. Even before I became a pastor and we were married, Jesus has always been the center.
The Lord has a way of, I don't know how I want to say this, working in your heart. The Spirit works in your life, and you have to draw from that, sometimes daily, sometimes hourly.
Life happens, and the honeymoon wears off, and you're stuck with the raw form of each other. And so the grace and forgiveness has to be practiced more regularly. humility has to be practiced more regularly.
It changes a lot because you go from, well, especially us. I got married when I was barely 20. And so, it's definitely a time of your life where you're maturing and you're learning and coming into who you are apart from your birth family.
Well, ones that we've been through in our short 5 months was buying a house. I got laid off from my job, lost my job, had to get a new job like 3 months later. We're pregnant, we're having a child, like that's a huge, life change. Yeah, just things that come up like finances, like everything's expensive.
The death of a loved one, and chronic illness, which we've experienced. That definitely challenges a marriage. Communication.
Or lack thereof.
I think one of the big things that challenge a marriage is also one of the biggest blessings, and that is family and relationships can challenge a marriage.
Having kids, that sounds silly, but it throws a different light on life. Another one of the challenges is financial. People that are having a real financial problem have that stress to deal with.
Someone who like truly actively lives out their faith and like wants that for their life. Someone who has like the same priorities and values as you.
This person had better love the Lord more than they love you. They had better have an honest relationship with God, not something that's phony. It better not be legalistic, they better be heartfelt. Because if they love Jesus more than they love you, they will love you more than you've ever been loved in your life by another human.
I think picking a spouse that is Christian is very important. Or, in my situation, one that was willing to be Christian, and Kristen wasn't Christian when I first met her, but she was very open to the idea, and, shortly thereafter we started dating, she got baptized.
Well, for young kids, it seems like the big thing is, first thing that attracts you is looks. And that's good, but it's not the most important. She needs to be a believer.
Mhm.
If you're a believer, she needs to be a believer. Because if she's not,
Can't be unequally yoked.
no, Bible says don't be unequally yoked, and it's gonna cause friction. It's not all about her. Women are selfish. In other words, Joy, if I was gonna tell you about getting married, I'd say don't.
Run! That's good.
That's pretty much it, yeah.
Hello, I'm Joey Smithson. I'm not married, and I know myself because I'm me. It seemed to me that each couple had pretty much the same answer overall. You need to have a good connection with each other, and no matter what trials you go through, you must always strive to stay together in one union with God in the center. A lot of footage I had to cut, and some of it I wish I could keep in. In the interview with my grandparents, Tom and Aletha Smithson, they said that they would not have probably been together for any more than 9 years if it wasn't for the Lord. And I thought that was interesting, because my whole life I've seen them love on each other and cherish one another and be great to one another. So I think the most important thing about a relationship overall is having Christ at the center, which is always how we end our themes at Concordia. So yeah, my takeaway from all of this is to have a good bond with our partner, but an overall union with the Lord, sort of like our own version of the Trinity. You have God the Father, and the man, and then the woman, three beings in one union, in one covenant